Hello students, class 10th. Let us discuss geometrical meaning of the zeros of a polynomial. First, let us read it. The zero of the polynomial is the x-coordinate of the point where the graph intersects the x-axis. It means if the graph intersects x-axis, then obviously y-coordinate is 0 and x-coordinate will be 1, 2, 3 and anything. That is called zero of the polynomial. If a polynomial px intersects x-axis at some point, that is k0, then k is called zero of the polynomial. Means the graph of a linear polynomial intersects the x-axis at a maximum of 1 point. Here we are discussing linear polynomial. In linear polynomial that intersects x-axis maximum of 1 point. You can see the graph of linear polynomial that is here. It is a graph of a linear polynomial which intersects x-axis at 1 point. At that point, x coordinate is k and y coordinate is 0, and this k is called zero of the polynomial. Therefore, a linear polynomial has a maximum of 1, 0 because 1 point. Now, let us discuss about quadratic polynomial. The graph of a quadratic polynomial intersects at x-axis at a maximum of 2 points. Quadratic polynomial can have a maximum of 2 zeros. In this case, the shape of a graph is a parabola, and the shape of a parabola of a quadratic polynomial, that is ax squared plus bx plus c, where a should be non-zero, depends on a. Let's see on the graph. If a is greater than 0, then the parabola opens upward, and if a is less than 0, then parabola opens downward. This is a parabola, one kind of parabola, other kind of parabola. This open upward direction, this open downward direction. But both the parabolas intersecting x-axis at 2 points, one is here, other is here. It means there are 2 zeros. These are graph of quadratic polynomial. Means quadratic polynomial has at most 2 zeros. You see on the graph intersects x-axis. In this graph intersects x-axis at 2 points. Geometrically, a quadratic polynomial can have either 2 distinct zeros or 2 equal zeros or no zeros. What's the meaning of it? If graph intersects x-axis 2 points, we have 2 zeros. If graph only touches x-axis at 1 point or intersects at 1 point, there is 1 zero. If graph do not intersect x-axis, it means no zeros. Now let's see here. The graph of a cubic polynomial intersects x-axis at maximum of 3 points. If you will draw graph of a cubic polynomial, that will intersect x-axis at a maximum of 3 points. That's why there are 3 zeros. May or may not. May we intersect 3 points, may intersect 2 points, may intersect 1 point, or no intersection. If graph intersects x-axis at any number of points, that is called number of zeros. In general, what you understood, an nth degree polynomial intersects x-axis at a maximum of n points. Therefore, an nth degree polynomial has a maximum of n zeros. Now let's discuss on the basis of some graphs. You see here, this graph is a parabola and which intersects x-axis at 2 points. One is A, other is A dash. It means here there are 2 zeros. Now let's see on the next graph. This graph is again a parabola, but it touches or intersects x-axis at 1 point. It means there is only 1 zero. This is 1 zero of the polynomial. Now let us discuss from more graphs. Here, this graph intersects x-axis at 1 point. This point is called zero of this polynomial. Means 1 0 because it intersects x-axis at 1 point. Here it is. This is parabola which intersects x-axis at 2 points, 1 and 2. There are 2 zeros. This graph intersects x-axis at 1, 2 and 3 points. Means there are 3 zeros. In the next one, this graph intersects both axes, x-axis and y-axis, but we will see only x-axis that intersects at x-axis at 1 point, means there is 1 0. This graph intersects or touches x-axis at 1 point, means there is 1 0. And this graph intersects x-axis at 1, 2, 3 and 4 0. 4 points means there are 4 zeros. Means in all the graphs you see, if they are intersecting x-axis at any number of points, the points are called zeros of the polynomial. Clear to everyone? We will it again, revise it properly. Thank you so much.